Now, the next part of this is going to be the stages of learning. Okay? The first stage is this is where you are absolutely unconsciously incompetent. You just don't know what you don't know. You know, like say you're trying to learn something new, and like right now, I'm a big proponent of learning during this period of isolation, learn something new. But you have to realize that you have to go through all of the stages. Like Vikas can tell you, when he first started studying the law of attraction, he didn't know what he didn't know. He was just starting. We all had to start somewhere. We didn't know, and you have no idea what you don't know. And so that lack of awareness, in some ways it can be a blessing. In some ways it can be a curse, because you're sitting there feeling like, what's wrong with me that somebody else knows that and I don't? And we beat ourselves up continuously. You know, it's kind of like a baby when they first start to crawl. Well, they've got to first crawl. They're just lying there on their back, and then all of a sudden, ooh, I might be able to crawl. Oh, then they might be able to walk. It's a process. So where are you in your process of learning something new during this isolation? Where are you in your process of your law of attraction journey? The second stage of learning is that you know something that you don't know it. Like in the first stage, you don't even know anything. The second stage is you know that you don't know, so now you're willing to go out and try to find it. You become conscious, but you're still not good at it. But you are willing to go forward. This is the uncomfortable part. This is getting out of your comfort zone. This is being able to say, hey, you know what, I'm not good at this, but boy, I'm going to do it anyways. And that doesn't matter what it is that you are trying to learn. So anybody in that stage of learning something? Oh, come on. Somebody's learning something that you don't feel that you're good at.
I definitely am myself. Currently, especially during this quarantine, I've really taken, I've always been all over the place with my hobbies, such as like music, and recently, what I do for a living is I'm a software engineer, and I'm taking up learning the electrical side now of engineering. So then after research and kind of, buying off Amazon a circuit board and a breadboard and trying to understand, okay, this is what I need to know, how to kind of wire it and all of that. And it's very uncomfortable because it's, I know I don't know it, and trying to practice and kind of get better and get good and get comfortable with not knowing that I know exactly how to do this task.
And that you're going to fail at some of it.
Exactly.
So, okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, that didn't work. So let's try something else.
Yeah. And being comfortable with those failures of, I'm trying to, even something as simple as getting a light to light up, and is this working? Okay, let's try something else, and getting comfortable. A lot of times I feel like, there's times I had stopped where it was like, okay, I just don't know what I'm doing. Let me just go walk away and do something that I know what I'm doing, because that's more comfortable. But to get back and kind of fail.
And and that's exactly what happens to so many people. They start something, they get to that uncomfortable stage, and instead of pushing through it, they let it stop them.
Mm-hmm.
And so then all of a sudden it's like, well, why isn't the law of attraction working for me? I'm doing the steps, but it's not working for me. Well, yeah, you got to keep going through that awkward stage. Anybody else want to share?
I've been learning about animals. So my profession for around 40 years was engineering, mechanical engineering. And that's really how I spent 60 hours a week. So I didn't know much about other things other than maybe like water skiing on the weekend. So now that I don't have to work anymore, knock on wood, I've always been an outdoor person. So I've been learning more about animals because I volunteer at horse rescue and a horse ranch. And so, but not knowing anything about these types of animals, you would be amazed at how much you have to learn for your safety, for their safety, and to help them enjoy time with you. And it's just really interesting because it's a totally different realm of engineering and being a blueprint type of person.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's why it's so important to learn new things. It stretches us. Okay. The third stage of learning is when you are consciously competent. This is where you know what you don't know, but you're integrating it into your life. It's not consistent, and it's not a total habit yet, but you know that you are making progress. But unfortunately, in this stage, this is where the progress once in a while can be a bit slower. In the first two, you don't know anything. You don't know what you don't know the first one. The second one, oh, you are learning so much. You're learning new things, and you're making great strides towards what you are learning, what you want to know. But then all of a sudden, now you know sort of what you know, but now you're only you're only learning littler things, and they're going a lot slower. But you're getting better at it. Your habits are kicking in. You're getting more consistent. Those are all great things. Okay. Then the next one is when you are absolutely conscious. You are an expert. You are habitual. You are consistent. You are doing it. And this is where you no longer have to think about what you're doing. You don't have to think about what you know. You know, and you know that you know that you know that you know it. And that's the fourth stage of learning. And what's great about that fourth stage is that you're still going to stumble. You're still going to fall. But the biggest thing there is that you know that you're going to get back up again and you're going to go on. So who can tell us a little story about where being in one of those stages? Who wants to share?
Let me share something I heard. I'm not in a stage. I'm not in a stage. But there was a research presentation I saw a while back on very successful people, athletes, businessmen, and so forth. And the theme that they were presenting was the term 10,000. That Tiger Woods had to hit the ball 10,000 times to get to stage 4. Michael Jordan had to shoot 10,000 hoops before he could get there. And then when I started riding a motorcycle, an old timer said, you got to go at least 10,000 miles before you really know what you're doing. So, maybe with meditation, it's 10,000 minutes or something. It's really putting yourself into it. So I think that might be something with stage 4. Right. I don't know how that fits with law of attraction, but maybe
because when you're studying the law of attraction, when you there's a guy in our other group that he talks about alignment. When you totally know, and I think maybe Vikas could address this. When you totally understand the law of attraction and alignment, you will much more easily get yourself into alignment and not let the other stuff bother you. So Vikas, what do you think? Does that fit what I'm saying?
Absolutely. In fact, I wanted to say this is a timely reminder for everyone to basically accept. And I see that many a times we don't look at, we are not aware of ourselves. So by understanding ourselves as to what our strengths are, how do we learn, we are actually making ourselves aware. And when we make ourselves aware, we try to find peace with how we are, rather than being in conflict with what we are and trying to be what we think is good. And when we try to be good and we are with peace with ourselves, we are able to get rid of self-doubts, limiting beliefs that we have. And as and when we are able to get rid of such things, such negative beliefs or self-doubt, we are able to be in alignment with higher level of frequency. So, Barbara, I completely agree with what you're saying. Once you are aware and once you are at peace with how you are, and also if you know what areas you can work on or how you learn things better, that's when things flow automatically. I would say, going back to the meeting that we had 3 weeks back where we were discussing flow state, that is one of the things that can get you in the flow state. So I completely agree with you, Barbara, with what you're saying.
And that's because I find so often we beat ourselves up for the things that we're not. well, I'm not as far ahead, or I'm not this, or I'm not that. And that's where those are those negative things. And so that's what, when you get into the fourth stage of learning, no matter what you're learning, and the law of attraction is no different. It's something you have to learn. It's a skill, right? Wouldn't you say that? Because it's a skill to be learned. And so that's why when Vikas last week first asked me to do this, and I was like, oh, I'll just talk about personality. And then it was like, yeah, no, because personality is a big part of our relationship part, but I'm a happiness girl. And to me, happiness starts within ourselves. We have to know who we are, aside from anybody else. Not because how many people do you know right now that are doing things just because their family has shared with them that they should be doing it? They're in family businesses that they don't want to be in, and they're not fulfilling themselves. That happens. That's why how we learn, and the type of learner we are, and the stages of learning that we're in, when we can accept them and just embrace them, wow, the universe is going to smile on us, because we're in alignment. Hey, yeah, this is where I'm at right now. It's not where I'm going to be 5 minutes from now. It's not where I'm going to be an hour from now. It's not where I'm going to be 5 years from now. But this is where I am right now. I'm a whatever you are, and then see whatever you are. I'm a visual learner and I'm in stage 3, or I'm an auditory learner and I'm in stage 1. It doesn't matter, as long as you're in alignment with who you are. So anybody have any questions or any other comments about that?
Yes, I do.
Sure.
So what happens if during that stage,
Which stage?
well, what you were just saying, or what the other gentleman was just saying, like how many you have to like do it, Tiger Woods hit that ball like 1,000 times. Okay, something like that. But what would somebody say to themselves if, okay, I'll just throw it out there. Like I am, and I've always been that way my whole life. I've been a cheerleader, things like that. And when I would look at somebody else and they just got it down, I would say, forget it. I'm not doing it, and I'm not going to try it. I'm out. So I would quit it. It's like, because no, I'm not as good as that person.
Right. That's the comparison syndrome.
But then you also, but what do you say to yourself? And you really don't feel like you are that good. So you're going to back out.
Okay. So right at that moment, Laura, everybody has two options. They will either quit, and that's an option, absolutely. Or they will say, well, what can I do today to be one little inkling better at what I do? Because you can only be where you are. So if you can say, you know what, this is what so like, say you want to do a 10K race, and you're a couch potato.
Right.
But you want to do a 10K race because your friend so-and-so, Little Miss Macho, is doing a 10K race, and you want to do it. To show her, for whatever reason you want to do it. You decide that you want to do a 10K race, and you're a couch potato. Okay, so what are you going to do today? Well, you're going to get off the couch and walk to you can start by, you can get off the couch and walk outside and walk to the end of your block. You're going towards your goal. It doesn't matter that she's already doing it. You're going there. That's where you're going. So I would just really keep your eye on, find the thing that you really want to do. But that comes back to don't do things just because your family wants you to do it. That comes back to who are you? Who do you want to be? Where do you want to go? Pick one thing and then say, you know what? I want to do that. Like for myself, I want to be a speaker. How do you go about being a speaker? Well, I started by doing little 1-minute videos on Instagram, shaking in my boots. And I recorded them and wouldn't do them live. But now I've progressed to now when Vikas asked me to do this presentation, I was like, I'm still shaking in my boots. Absolutely. My hands are clammy. My heart was racing. But you know what? I'm doing it.
I would not think of that about you, Barbara, at all.
Oh,
by your
my
presentation
hands
right now,
are
not
like
at all.
ice, and they are clammy. My heart is racing. I took my pulse. My pulse was skyrocketing because this is out of my comfort zone. But that's where you start. What I started was doing 1 minute little videos on Instagram. So thank you. Because I'm shaking in my boots. But that's how you start. So like, I cannot compare myself to Brendan Burchard. I don't know if you know who Brendan Burchard is.
Nope.
He's huge. Or, like, even to have the knowledge that Vikas has. I don't have that knowledge yet. I'm learning. I don't have it yet because I'm still learning. And so we have to give ourselves permission to learn. Give yourself permission.
Yeah, but that all depends, Barbara. Are you trying to be like Vikas, or are you trying to be as good as Vikas? Is what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
I'm trying to be the best me that I can be. I just don't happen to have as much knowledge.
You already are, though.
I'm sorry, what?
Love it.
You already are. You already are. Your explanation, your teachings, your speaking is just wonderful. No, and Vikas is too. But are you
in
like,
different ways?
You don't want to be like him. He's got a different style.
Exactly,
Right.
Laura.
Still good. You don't need to knock yourself for not right.
No, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I will never have it. Well, maybe eventually, but I don't have the knowledge that Vikas has. But you know what? That doesn't make me less of a person. It does. So I don't compare myself now to other people. I am learning every day to do something a little bit more than what I did yesterday. And that's all we can hope to do. And it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's something little, if it's planting a garden in our yard.
Right.
It doesn't matter. As long as you take one little step going forward, it can be one little thing. And once you start, but the thing is, lots of times, I will share this with you, Laura. Lots of times people pick the wrong goal. They pick a goal because they think they should. Not because they want it.
Yeah, right. That happens. Yes. Yeah.
That happens a lot. So people think that, I should be doing this because so-and-so is doing that. I should be doing this. Yeah, no, but if it's not in alignment with you, and that's why the law of attraction is so important. So important. When you can get aligned with what you want. What does the universe want for you?
But you can never find who you are if you give up and if you fail, or
exactly.
if you
So
inside of yourself. Yeah.
You have to look inside yourself. Like every morning, I'll tell you up front for myself. Every morning when I get up, I sit quietly. I don't have any music on. I just sit there. And it's like, okay, what do I need to do today? Or what do I get to do today? And you know what? The universe will tell you. Like this morning, it was like, okay, what are you going to do today? Well, I had a specific thing that I had planned for this presentation. Well, guess what? 11 o'clock, it was like, yeah, no, I have to add this. I added a little bit more of the learning part, because that's what it's like, they need to hear this, of how they are learning, and to get input of how they're learning so that they can see that they're learning. So if you'll take that in, when you can sit, everything that you need is within yourself. Absolutely everything you need is within yourself. You just have to access it and be accepting of it. And even if something sounds a little strange, okay, gee, I wonder why I'm supposed to be doing that. And why should I do that? Or why do I want that? Like, ask yourself, what do you want? And then when you come up with an answer, okay, why do I want that? Well, because of. Well, why do you want that? Well, because of. Why do you want that? And go down like 13 times. And then you'll really know what you want. And then once you know what you want. Okay, Vikas, what?
Yeah, just wanted to share my perspective. First of all, wanted to thank everyone for such nice compliment and nice appreciation. I don't think I'm any special. We all are similar. Just wanted to give my perspective on what Laura asked for. So what typically happens is when we try to look at others, we get into comparison. Comparison could be good or bad. Comparison, if we see as, oh, someone is as good as Tiger Woods, I cannot get there, I cannot be world number one, I cannot be Aaron Doughty, Brendan Bouchard, or Abraham Hicks, or whatever. That's when you are getting a comparison which is actually demotivating you.
Right.
So just remember that. But comparison can be good when you actually see what you're lacking and what you need to learn, like Barbara mentioned. The second aspect is, at some level, we need to have little bit of courage. Whether the courage is to convince ourselves that I can do it, or courage is to convince others that I need to prove people wrong. There are many people who find motivation in proving people wrong. They get on high when they see people criticizing you, people not giving you due respect or importance, and then you feel such a nice what do you say, emotions when you feel when you prove people wrong. But not everyone is like that. Some people are able to get to that courage where they know that they don't know much, but they still go forward. And some people who always are aware that we don't know much, maybe I'll fail, how would I deliver something, like Barbara mentioned. When you're doing something for first time, not every time we succeed in flying colors, or we are excellent, or we do things completely nicely. Many things we learn from ourselves. Barbara shared her story of speaking or preparing for this. Same with me. When I joined this group, you can ask Laura, she was there that time. Steve is not there, but there are many people who were there that time. I used to be completely silent. Not that I knew everything by that time. The thing is that what makes a difference? Comparison done rightly, where you focus on what I need to work on. Then second thing, courage. Either convince yourself or convince others. At least have some courage to know that I can do it. If you don't have a courage, or what can help you in getting that courage, is the trust or belief that you are entitled for something. You will get something. They may not be the exact path for you, like for Tiger Woods or whoever we call like Abraham Hicks, or many celebrities, top of the world, extremely um, uh, basically extremely competent and world authority on their given topic or subject. But then there is some path for you. Just remember that we all have our universes, and we create our universe. That is what law of attraction is. If you believe sufficiently that you will get somewhere, you may not get to Tiger Woods level. There's only world number one. There's only one Roger Federer. But then there are many people who go there, beat them, and come back. They do show that level of brilliance, or are able to reach that level. So just remember that when you're doing comparison can bring blessings, or it can basically demotivate you. So comparison done in order to find out what you need to focus on. Same with like any outcome of situation, whether it's success or failure, we say, but I say it's success or learning. Either you succeed or you learn what you need to focus on. Many people that we talk about, they failed many times, and that's why they get to the level that they are. And what made the difference between them or some of the people who could not reach to that level was courage and belief. Something drove them, something told them that we can work, I can do better, I need to get better. Either I need to prove to myself, or I need to prove to the entire world, but I need to do something. So remember that if you do comparison, see how much of comparison you're doing, it is not demotivating you. Second, have to have some courage. You have to have, whether to prove to yourself or someone else. And then third, have to have the trust. Trust is really important. And if you're not trusting universe, which we all know has abundance for everyone. there's no lack for anyone. And if universe is able to give us something, then why are we having limiting beliefs? So if we remember that, we will be able to move forward no matter what we do. The other aspect I wanted to discuss, and Barbara mentioned quite rightly, is finding out what we need to do. Whether I need to play tennis, or I need to play golf, or talk about law of attraction, or practice healthcare, or whatever. What do I need to do? At times, what makes the difference is the learning or the awareness, and that is where Barbara is having this topic, which is a timely reminder for us to understand and accept the way things are, so that we are able to get rid of doubts, limiting beliefs, and able to move forward. The more at peace we are with ourselves, how we are, the better we are able to move forward. So even if you do something wrong, you pick up a career which is not meant for you, that is okay. As long as you are willing to learn, you have the courage either to convince yourself or someone else. And also, if you have trust, do you think I didn't fail any time? I failed many times.
Yeah, but if you look like an idiot, you feel bad.
That's okay.
You're discouraged right away, and then you want to stop right there. You look like an idiot. You feel stupid. You stop.
Right, and that's exactly. I'll tell you a story on myself. One day I was doing a live presentation. There was probably 200 people in the room, and I was right in the middle of the presentation. Luckily, my husband was sitting in the first or second row of the audience. I just looked right at him and said, "David, what am I trying to say here?" I had totally lost my train of thought. "David, what am I trying to say here?" And of course, the whole audience laughed.
Oh, I would have been gone off the stage.
But that happens. And one time, my husband, he was a musician, and he was a guitar player, and a very good guitar player. And one day I happened to say to him, "Well, have you ever forgotten the words in the middle of a song?" He went, "Barb, seriously?" "Yeah." All the time. And one time he was doing a gig, and he did. And he just stood there and he said, "You know what?" He forgot what the chord was. And he sat there and he went, "Okay, I know there's a chord in there somewhere. Ooh, let's find it. Oh, let's find it." And I was like, "Oh, there it is." And he continued. The thing is to just fluff up and then go forward. It's the people that when they fluff up and stop, and then years later they say, "Oh, why did I stop?" Because you know what? Nobody remembers when you fluff up, and then it becomes like, for me now, when I 200 people in the room, totally lost my place in the training. But you know what? Now it's a funny story. I have no problem telling people about it. At the time, I was mortified. And yet when I came off the stage, everybody said, "Oh, I'm glad to see that you just laughed it off, because I've done that too." And Vikas can tell you, there's been times where he's probably done it too, in the middle of a presentation, and just, "Ooh, yikes, what was I saying here?" That happens. And just laugh it off and just continue on. I think one of the things for me is that don't compare yourself to somebody that's so far above you, but where the good comparison that Vikas is talking about is, look for somebody that's just slightly ahead of you. "Oh, I want to learn what they know." And then when you get there, look for the next one where they are. And you do it in slow little baby steps. You're not going to learn it overnight. You're not going to learn anything overnight.
Right.
So, yeah. That was Vikas.
Hey, Barbara, I just wanted to mention one thing.
Sure.
So the difference between many of the successful people or masters that we consider or expert is versus some of the others is not that we fall or not. Everyone does. Life is similar to everyone. We all have goods and bads. We will fall. We will fail. The difference that defines someone who will succeed or become excellent in something is whether or what we do, how do we react after those failures. Do we stay down after we fall, or we get up and run again?
It's like when you hear the Thomas.
And the thing is, the more if you look at from that perspective, if you've fallen, you need to get up, because if you don't get up, you'll be fallen. You need to get up sooner or later. Whether you'll get up after convincing yourself, or someone you are looking for some helping hand or something,
Mhm.
that may be one of the limiting beliefs. But the thing is, you have to get up. The sooner you are able to get up, the more in alignment with yourself, the more at peace with you are with yourself, you'll be able to move forward. Everyone would fall. Everyone does. But some of us, and some of us, I mean, in the entire universe, get up faster and move forward, rather than thinking or ruminating, oh, I fell, maybe people might be laughing on me, maybe I cannot walk as fast, maybe I'm not as capable. They could be different things, but the more we are in alignment with the personality that we have, and that is where Barbara is going through this wonderful topic, where we understand who we are.
Okay, what do you
And once we
say
understand,
though?
we are at, I'm sorry, Laura?
No, I was
Go ahead.
just going to say, what do you say to that person that is just being belittled at the moment? You're saying you're down, get up and go fast, get out, get up. But when you're
So
down
that's
already
where
and
the
you're being
role
belittled
of,
or whatever, how do you get yourself to get up? What do you say to yourself? Get up and get out of the situation of being put down or whatever that may be during that time.
Laura, that's exactly what you say to yourself. Laura, get up and get going. Do one thing.
Yeah.
Do one thing. One thing.
I think you also have to remember to have some self-compassion to
And
yourself.
exactly.
You're so awful.
Quit beating ourselves up.
I mean, if you think about you're talking to a child, would you say to yourself, stop beating yourself up? You'd say, no, let's try this again. Let's backtrack, regroup,
right.
take a deep breath, and move forward.
What can I do?
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
Because you
true,
know
Susan. And Susan just said that. And like, just for an example, with my own daughter, when she was fighting over a boyfriend that they were always fighting, I told her, get up and don't cry over no boy.
Mhm.
I just told her to get up and just move on and
do
to
one
be
thing.
strong.
And do one thing. And it can be one little thing. One of the things, like I shared with you in the very first few minutes, stand in front of the mirror, forgive yourself for whatever it is that's upset you. Like for me, it's like, okay, I'll tell the story. When I was a kid, I stole money from my mom. It bothered me my entire life. And when I first learned the mirror exercise, that was one of the first things that came up out of my being. That when I think I was 6 or 7 years old and stole money from my mom and never confessed to it and then lied about it. And that was one of the things when I was standing in front of my mirror, Barbara, I forgive you for stealing money from mom, for not telling her, and for letting it bother you for all these years. The tears were rolling down my face. But you know what now? Hey, I'm broadcasting it. Because now it's just something that happened. I was a kid. Yeah. I was a kid. Well, you have to remember that within every one of us, there is a 5-year-old child who is still hurt, that we have to forgive that 5-year-old child. Give that 5-year-old child a hug and say, hey, it's okay. And yeah, exactly. That's what happens. We have to forgive that inner child. You would never think of telling your child. You would, if a child came up to you and they were crying, you would put your arms around them and comfort them. Well, that's what you have to do with yourself. Comfort that inner child.
Yeah, I've heard that before, and that's what's starting to make me help myself. And I think that was from Laura Murray.
Yeah,
in our class right now. She's the one who actually said that, and I made myself think of life in a different way by that.
What did I say? What did I say, Laura?
You were saying, like, just to give yourself, like, think of yourself as a child. Where you said, why am I saying bad stuff to everybody else or about everybody else or whatever, or good stuff about everybody else? Why don't I say good about me?
Yes.
Exactly.
So when you
That
said
was a
that,
valuable
that's
lesson.
what made me realize I got to start doing that's what Laura said. I got to start doing that. And that really helped
Treat
me out a lot by
yourself.
that.
Treat yourself like as good as you treat everybody else, and you'll be
Exactly.
fine.
So Joe,
Right.
we have one more, then we'll move on. Otherwise, we're going to be here forever,
Okay.
which is good, but we got to go. Joe,
Just
what?
just real quick, tying it to your levels of learning and the video,
Mhm.
I think that we should be striving to achieve level 4 with ourselves, not with anyone else, with ourselves and our relationships when we link it to that, what the video was. So become the best that you are, and that might be a great goal to strive for.
A great goal. Exactly, because so much of what's happening to us are the limiting beliefs, and we've had those limiting beliefs probably since we were kids. And like I had to, for myself, I had to forgive myself for stealing from my mom. It bothered me for all my life. You know, and subconsciously, wasn't something that I consciously thought about it, but as I was starting to go deep down into the layers that are me, oh yeah, that came up. So, because you have one something else.
No, I just wanted to piggyback on what Joe mentioned on the video, and the video put emphasis on and actually described about the importance of having relationship or healthy relationship. Relationship is one aspect of relationship is having a relationship with someone else, but the other aspect that we miss many times is having relationship with ourselves, the inner child that we have, inner being we have. If we love ourselves, if we don't love ourselves, how can we expect someone else to love us or be with us? So we need to be comfortable with ourselves and love us. And once you do that, you will see people around you will see you differently. That's it. That's what I wanted to say, Barbara. Thank you.
Exactly. All right. So now let's go on to the fun part, which is the personality science, and of how we can react to the people around us. Because now we know that we have to love ourselves, that we have to accept the stage of learning that we're at and how we learn. But now we can't. My favorite saying right now is that we can't do life on our own. We have to do life with the people around us. So let me just share my screen.